Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm Cindy Edgerly, and along with Molly Schneider, we are the co-founders of Well Together, a coaching and wellness practice dedicated to your wellness. And today I want to talk about self-worth and feeling like we are enough. I think it's a pretty pertinent topic these days, given how we all have been feeling over the past year, being dragged down a bit by the pandemic and perhaps not as productive as we normally are. I just thought it would be a good reminder of the fact that you are enough. So I don't know how old I was when my self-worth first became a question, but I suspect, like most people, that it was linked to comparing myself and my accomplishments or failures to those of others. Or perhaps it was witnessing others make the comparisons. Probably a bit of both. Instead of feeling intrinsically worthy, many, if not most of us, at some point come to rely on external factors to measure our self-worth. This is particularly true when we are feeling uncertain, anxious, or burned out, the way many of us are feeling these days. The self-worth theory, developed in 1976 by Berkeley psychologists Martin Covington and Richard Beery, postulates that our self-acceptance is generally found through our achievements, and that our achievements are judged based on competition with others. While some of us are more competitive than others, there is little doubt that the majority of us feel at least somewhat competitive in certain situations. Psychologists, anthropologists, and others who have studied competition disagree on whether it is a learned or an innate behavior. But thinking about it, I would say, like most things, it's probably a bit of both. Not only are certain people more competitive than others, but we need only to look around the world to see that certain societies value competition more than others. I had to put the Olympic symbol in there. It just really made me think of it. And this is reflected in, as well as reflective of, the economic structures of the societies, as well as many other factors, making it a complex phenomenon that I won't even venture to unravel today. But suffice it to say, competition plays a significant role in the question of self-worth. And while competitiveness may be, at least for some, a natural trait, and you could argue even a necessary one for survival or progress, the way that we use it and how closely we link it to our worth can significantly impact the way we feel about ourselves. How do you feel, for example, when you hear about the success of a friend? Are you happy for them? Do you feel inspired or motivated? Or do you feel less than? One of the biggest mistakes people make is measuring their worth by comparing themselves to others, because in doing this, we tend to focus on the talents and successes of others while focusing on the shortcomings and failures of ourselves. Let your self-worth be fixed and resistant to market trends or accounting activities. So, years ago, one of my daughter's wonderful teachers once shared her theory that if we consider our self-worth to be like a checking account with achievements as deposits and failures as withdrawals, we're setting ourselves up for trouble. In other words, if each time we did poorly on a math test, we told ourselves, we're no good at math, we're not a good student. And each time we did well, we told ourselves, oh, we are good at math, we are a good student. Then our core sense of self-worth is ever changing and it's affected by external factors. Instead, if we consider our worth to be more like a savings account and that it is fixed, our worth remains constant and is enhanced when we, continuing with the math example, get a good grade, for instance. Having a steady core sense of self, a belief that I am okay no matter what, is key to achieving a high sense of self-worth. At some point along the road, competition has prevailed and caused many of us to tie our achievements to our worth. The interesting thing about considering external factors is that depending on your sense of self-worth, they can either motivate you or impede you. When we allow ourselves to be defined by what we have achieved or acquired, we relinquish control over our self-esteem. It's necessary to have a strong foundation and the belief that no matter what my flaws may be, whatever mistakes I make, I am worthy and valuable just by virtue of being. Without this foundation, our sense of self-worth can go up and down depending on our achievements, but also depending on those of others, as well as many other factors that are just beyond our control, as we've certainly learned more than ever this year. So let's consider some of the ways to build a strong, steady foundation of self-worth. And I like to think of it kind of as building blocks. There are certain steps or blocks that you can use to build a really strong foundation. And the first is with self-awareness. Building an understanding of your own values and priorities and separating out those of others really helps with this. Consider what is important to you. What do you want for yourself rather than competing with your neighbor over something that you don't even really value? Self-acceptance is another. Let go of the things that contribute to burnout, like perfectionism or other unrealistic expectations of yourself. And just an aside, we have a blog post as well as a YouTube video called Letting Go of Should that delves much more deeply into this topic, which is a very important one as it relates to self-worth. Another building block is self-compassion. Treat yourself and talk to yourself. Use self-talk as you would your best friend or your child. This is especially important right now as the trauma of living through the pandemic has exhausted us and prevented us perhaps from being as productive as we might normally be. If you haven't already, it's time to cut yourself some slack. Let it be okay that you can't get everything done. Acknowledge that the pandemic has been a drain on your inner resources and that you need extra reserves right now to comfort yourself and to heal and just to get through everything that's going on in the world. Self-acknowledgement. Acknowledge and focus on your positive attributes, actions, and achievements without comparing them to someone else's. Give yourself credit. Let that sink in and savor it. Stand up to that voice inside your head telling you you're not good enough, smart enough, attractive, or wealthy enough. It helps to separate that voice from yourself, even by giving it a name, for instance, and challenge it when it rears its ugly head. Using these important building blocks in combination with healthy practices which fuel our reserves like sleep, exercise, meditation, journaling, positive self-talk, and social connection, daily rituals like savoring and celebrating small things, those all help us to more intrinsically remember that we are enough. As always, we at Well Together are here for you. If you need help remembering that you are enough or with building your foundation, please reach out to us. We love hearing from you, and we know that we can be well together. If you've enjoyed this talk, please leave a comment down below. Remember to subscribe to our channel and check out our website. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.